Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. I am Dana Snyder, co-founder, or not co-founder. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm the founder of my company, Positive Equation. Hope everyone's having a good day. As you can tell, I probably need to add some more coffee or tea to this beverage. We're halfway through the week. It is full on getting warmer here in Atlanta. Hey, I see everyone joining. Let me know in the comment section, where are you watching? We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, my Facebook group, my Facebook page. So where are you watching from and what organization do you work for? I'm super excited that you're here today. This is going to be an awesome session with Taylor. So make sure, if you do not already, grab a pen and a piece of paper, get ready for some note taking because it's about to go down. But quickly, my mom actually got me this cool little inspirational book of sayings. And so I wanted to kick off today's session with one that says, in order to succeed, we must first believe that we can. This is huge when it comes to content strategy. I think we get overwhelmed a lot of times and we just think, oh, I can't do that. I don't have any time. I don't have any funds. I don't have any resources. Like all the scarcity mindset. And so we want to remove that. And today we're going to come into this conversation with so much abundance that we got this and we can accomplish this. And we're going to showcase some really cool tricks on how you can repurpose some of that amazing content. So Taylor's going to join me on screen in a second, but to tell you a little bit about who she is. She's the founder and CEO of Barlele. Taylor has been leading brand strategy and marketing teams and helping organizations scale their digital marketing programs for over 14 years. She is a TEDx speaker. It's amazing. Podcast host and big believer, I love this, in focusing on how what matters most to your audience in order to achieve liftoff and growth. She works with clients to understand their unique value and translates that into words, imagery, and stories that produce positive results. We all need some of that in our life. So please welcome Taylor.
Hello. Hey, Dana. How's it going?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining us. Where are you in the world today?
I'm in Sugar Mountain, North Carolina. I live in the sticks on a mountain, and it's I've had 4 cups of coffee. This is my second live show today, so I'm ready to roll. We're gonna
Apparently,
be on fire
I need
here.
the second one. I'm calling myself a co-founder of my own business.
It happens.
Girl.
It happens.
All right. I am super excited that you are here. We have been talking beforehand about my own content strategy. This is something that nonprofits and for-profits, everyone is consumed with all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to dive right in. When it comes to building a content strategy, man, where do you normally start?
Yeah. First off, I tell people to breathe, take a breath, right? Because it can be overwhelming, especially with there's so many different channels to be on these days. There's so many different data points coming at you. Like, well, we have people here and here and here, and we're talking here and there. And wow, it can really quickly feel overwhelming and really quickly feel like I just want to put my head in the sand because that's where I'm at. So I tell people to breathe, get plenty of coffee like me. We can work through this. Then I say what's the really important thing is to figure out and ask some of the big high level questions before you're even like, someone said we have to be on TikTok. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Now I have to learn TikTok, right?
The shiny
happens. Yeah. So that's why we go back to breathe and we say, well, who do you even want to engage in the first place? Because different people are going to be on different channels looking for different things on different channels.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to think through in your content strategy, who am I even trying to engage? That's step 2 after breathing. Step 3 is, what are we trying to engage them about? Right? What are we trying to ask them to do? How are we trying to bring them into our organization or our mission or our impact or whatever it is that we're doing? So you have to say who, what are we saying? What do we need to communicate? And then what do we want them to communicate back to us? Because when I think about content strategy this day and age, it's not just email marketing, right? It's not just I'm sending them stuff in the mail where it feels like a one-way street. It is a two-way street. So what kind of feedback we want to be able to develop through our content marketing? And then the fourth step is to, once you've figured out who you're engaging, what you're saying to them, what feedback you're getting back from them, and how they're engaging with you, then you decide, now what channels should I go be on, and what kind of content do I need to create on these channels, right? And that's when you get into the nitty gritty of, do I need to do this one or this one or this one? Or should I really just focus on these two, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to start at that high level first, but it starts with the breathing.
You don't,
yoga.
Key, you don't have to be on everything.
No.
I always say that, like, you don't. And every channel, right, you have a different, you are acting differently on each channel. So what makes the most amount of sense to be on? I love that. I want to also make sure, if you have questions while we're going through this, please feel free to drop them into the comments on whatever channel you're watching. And I promise Taylor or I will try and get to them for you. So something that I think is brilliant that we talked about a little bit beforehand is repurposing content. So there's this idea that we can only use something one time on one platform and then it's done.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, what is repurposing content and, like, what's the thought behind that?
Yeah. Well, the thought is that people forget things, first off. So, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Dana, you didn't even remember if you were the founder or the co-founder of your company, right?
We all need to be done. Yeah, it's so true.
We think we remember everything. We don't. Okay. Your audience, people you're marketing to, they don't remember everything that you put out all the time. It takes a lot of time to build that memory of who you are and how they perceive you and what you're doing and how you're bringing value into their lives. So when you think about your content strategy, you kind of got to say the same thing a lot. And I know that it is what it is. And that feels scary to people. I get it. I've been there. I've been in that seat where I'm like, I have to write something new every day. And then I finally learned, no, I don't. Because not everyone gets it the first time. Not everyone sees it, especially if let's say Twitter's your channel. Oh God, that thing's a nightmare. Like, it's like boom, 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 right? So like people miss stuff all the time. So when you think about repurposing your content, first of all, you've got to get your core messages into your content. Like, what's your theme? What are your big things that you want to say that you're going to repeat and you're going to drill in kind of over and over again? And you can say them in different ways. You can bring different pictures in. You can repurpose how you say it, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. When I first started marketing, the framework was often, talked about in marketing meetings about rinse, reuse, recycle, right? And that's really still the same thing that it is today. I like to think about it from the perspective more of a new framework, just a different way of thinking about it, of pillar content to micro content. So if you've ever heard of Gary Vee, he's a big believer and sort of founder of this framework of like talking about it as pillar content to micro content. And I just went blurry on my camera. It does this autofocus thing sometimes. I'll try it again.
Did my eyes just like...
No, it's not your context. It's my amazing camera that I spent a lot of money on, and now it refocuses me all the time.
There you go.
I'm back. Goodness. So pillar content to micro content. Let's talk about that. What is a piece of pillar content that a nonprofit organization might have? A monthly newsletter is an example. One of my favorite examples.
Yeah.
You put probably a lot of work into that monthly newsletter, the email, or maybe it's a print newsletter that you still send out, right? There's a lot of work and a lot of thought and a lot of information that goes into that. That's your pillar content. From that newsletter, you should be repurposing that thing like crazy. Slice and dice it into a million different pieces.
Yes.
Okay. And then you put that out on your social media. You get one little tweet out of one little sentence from your newsletter, and that's your tweet for the day or whatever. You put a graphic with it and you put it on Instagram. And so when you think about repurposing your content, it's like start with like that big body of work that you just put a lot of effort into, and then take it and turn that into your 30-day content marketing calendar for social media, because that's the biggest thing I see people get overwhelmed with.
Totally.
It's, how do I post stuff on social media all the time? It's like, you're already writing this other thing, right? Or maybe it's an impact report. So that's the way that I think about repurposing stuff is, first off, not everyone's going to catch everything every time. You got to say the same thing over and over again, and then just figure out how to slice and dice your big report into a bunch of little tiny micro versions of it.
I love that. Yeah. Something that I talk about a lot is you can repurpose the same piece of content on different platforms in different ways. So for example, this video is being broadcasted live on multiple platforms after we're done. I'm taking notes, by the way. That's why I have a whiteboard marker. It's like, what is she doing with this? After this video is over, I am going to put the video on my blog, and I'm going to write a summary so that people after the fact can find it and they can watch it there. Then my content manager is going to take a 60-second portion of something brilliant that Taylor has already said, and she's going to cut it down and post that 60-second video on Instagram.
Yep.
Right? So,
exactly.
And just in that, so I have one piece of content right now. I have a blog post that's going to go out. I had an email about this, and I'm going to have an Instagram post. So this one interview is serving me 5 different places.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. I'll give you another one, take another step further. So I do a similar thing. I'll sit down, I'll record a video, and then it's maybe a 10-minute video of like interview. And then I cut that into probably 10 different like 60-second or 90-second clips. And then I use that over the course of 6 weeks in my email marketing and my Instagram and my Facebook and my LinkedIn. And the same thing goes to all the different places. You just tweak it a little bit for each channel. The other way that you can do this, I help produce people's podcasts. So you record a podcast, you take that podcast, you put it in a tool called Otter AI, you get the transcription of the audio file, so it makes talk to text, right? You go take that, you turn that into show notes, you turn it into a blog, right? You got your high bullet, you take the bullet points out of it, turn it into a blog. Then you go and you use a tool called Lumen 5. I'm talking real fast because I've had all this copy today, Dana. And you use that to take written text and create little micro content videos with stock photos and stock videos. And like, here's your 5 bullet points on how to do X, Y, or Z, right? So there's so many different ways to slice and dice.
That's beautiful. Okay. Is anyone serving up? Can we get an amen in the comments? Because this is where it's at. We're going to church talking about content strategy. So can we get an amen?
I am not a preacher.
Can we get an amen down in the comment section? So I always love examples. Not for the purpose of, we don't want to copy anyone, but it's flattery to get ideas. Do you have examples or maybe clients you've worked with that really does repurposing? Well, I mean, it sounds like you do. Is there anybody that comes to mind? Yes, the College Community Center says amen. I love it.
All right.
We're here for it.
Here for the party. Examples. Yeah, I was actually looking at a couple. So I help my clients do this. So it's like, what do you want to say? And then let's just scale that 1 million times. So a couple of others. Amen. Hey, Jonathan. A couple of others that I was looking at recently that I do think do a good job of this. So I have a friend who is a board member of a nonprofit called Well Aware. They help bring clean water to places mostly in Africa. They do a great job, again, of just realizing that you don't have to create completely different content on your different social media. Like I went to their LinkedIn, I went to their Instagram, I went to their Facebook, I went to all their different channels. And
what's their website, you know?
I think it's Well Aware. Hold on. Well Aware, wellawareworld.org. Clean water. They're a super cool organization. The founders in Austin, which is my hometown. So I've just
cool.
close to it because of that. But yeah, they do a great job of just saying, okay, this is our content, and then we're going to make sure that it fits on each different channel. But they're not having to like write new stuff for every channel. They're taking the same stories and they're making them work on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and all the different channels. Another one that I think is doing a good job of this is March of Dimes. So I know they're a big organization. If you're like, here's the one myth I want to say, just because they're a big organization and they're an example that I'm citing, doesn't mean if you're a small organization, you can't do this too.
Totally.
Because there are so many tools that make it like pretty efficient to do these days. They also just do a great job of basically saying the same things and just adapting it to the channel. One of the things I saw them do too on their Facebook page, which I thought was a good example of just content repurposing, was they had one post about an event with a graphic and some calls to action. And then they also turned that into an actual event on Facebook that you could RSVP to. So you could do that on LinkedIn too. You can create an event that's basically got the same information as a post and then invite people to. So then you have an event and you have a post and it's all saying the same thing.
Love that. Something I talk about a lot too is content, platform-specific content. So I love, one example is the American Cancer Society. Their Instagram page, and I'm going to share it in the comments. Their Instagram page, for the most part, is just selfies or photos, unfiltered, of people that have gone through or are survivors of cancer. So it's very visual. It's a story. It's impactful, and it is specific to Instagram, versus they use Facebook for their blogs and their video and their promotional content. So again, you're thinking about what's going to work on this platform and what story about us are we telling where. So I love those examples. I'll list those in the blog too. You were kind of talking about this a little bit already, but can you, and I'll put the links in, what are your go-to content management tools?
Yes. So I have several in different categories that I'll mention, and I can like send these and write them up and post them too. Okay, so I wrote them down because there's a lot. First off, the number one tool for content management that I use is Canva.
Yes,
because you can make
another amen to Canva. Hey, Julia.
Amen. Oh, Julia, what's up, girl?
Julia's another amazing social content marketer. Yes,
incredible. So Canva. Like I do everything under the sun in Canva. It's amazing. Like the only thing it doesn't do is make my coffee, right? It basically runs the rest of my life for me. There is an alternative to Canva that some people swear by. It's called Crello, Crello.
Do we even want to say it? Do we?
I don't.
Look at we got Andy's all about the Canva.
Yeah.
Cindy's all about amen to Canva. Oh, and I don't know about the other company, but Canva is owned by a female entrepreneur. I don't know if people knew that.
There you go.
So there you go. Therefore.
So Canva does a lot. You know why? Because you can create all sorts of your content in there. I all of my presentations I make in Canva now. And then if I have to share them with someone in PowerPoint, it's design in Canva because it's fast.
Yeah, I don't think
it's easy.
Anyone asked me for a PowerPoint presentation. I don't even know.
I still have to like sometimes give people a template, because I help people a lot of times with their pitch. And so they're not on the Canva train. I normally get people on the Canva train though. After working with me for like 2 months, like you don't use anything else. So Canva, Adobe Spark is also a great tool for like creating social posts, social content, videos, things like that.
For video,
yeah, you need to have some sort of a social media scheduler in your back pocket.
I love Sprout.
Sprout's good. I like Meet Edgar. I like Zoho Social. I think it has nice analytics. Buffer. There's a lot that do it. Email marketing. I mean, email is still part of the content cycle. Okay.
Oh, 100%. Email's a big deal right now.
It's a big deal. So, you can get so many different tools that are really powerful. MailChimp is really powerful. Active Campaign, $50 a month. You get amazing automation in Active Campaign.
Yeah, you do.
Convert to Zoho Marketing.
I use Flowdesk. Flowdesk is a good one. Also female owned. It's like I have a trend here. Not as not as rich in
Amen.
not as rich in the analytics or the tracking
Yeah.
as ActiveCampaign for sure. But
Yeah.
it's like $19 a month for unlimited
Yeah.
email addresses. So it depends on what you need and what your budget
That's
is.
good. Yeah. Yeah. And all of these, like you can get between $10 and $50 a month. You can get something really, really powerful for email marketing. Another one I want to mention, there's a few more. So Lumen 5, I mentioned, that takes text and turns it into videos. So for micro content videos. Otter AI is one of my new favorite tools. It takes your dictation, your voice, your podcast episode, your video, whatever you've done, and it turns that into a transcribed file. Then you can do whatever you need to with that.
Yep.
I often go out, like blogging for me, it's hard. It's hard to find the time to blog or to write. I write my email campaigns by going out on a walk, dictating into Otter, and then taking it and turning that gibberish into real thoughtful content.
That's brilliant. That's so good because that's what they say. Email should sound like you're talking to your best friend.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So like I just walk and I talk and I record it. Lastly, a couple of other things. If you're into podcasting, I like Buzzsprout for hosting. I like SoundCloud, Podbean. All of those are really great podcast hosting tools.
Okay.
There's a couple of video apps on my phone that I use. One's called KindMaster. There's Video Shop. They make it really easy for you to like very quickly edit videos on your phone. And the last thing I'll say, these are a couple of tricks that I figured out over the years to find and discover new content marketing tools. I'm a nerd and I like to spend my Saturday mornings drinking coffee and doing this. Don't judge.
Not judging.
I will go onto sites like AppSumo. AppSumo, have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. You can discover all sorts of new software platforms that do cool things on AppSumo. Okay. And the other thing that I like to do now, this is real nerdy, is I will go to, let's say, like a major email marketing platform, like a MailChimp, and I will search on their integrations page, and I will see what tools MailChimp integrates with. I will see what tools ConvertKit integrates with. I will see what tools a bunch of the major players integrate with, and it helps me discover tools. That's how I find stuff like Otter AI.
You know, one of my nerdy tricks is I look at big events and who are their sponsors.
Yeah, that's a great way too. I do a similar thing. And then I'm like, what is this company? Right. So you go to those things and you click it. It's like clickbait for people like us. And you go and you click and you start looking at the website. You just start discovering. I discovered a new tool that I want to start using, Dana, because you were asking me about something with your content. And I looked at your website and saw this video ask. And I was like, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
I need to use this.
Amazing. Oh, my gosh. For everyone who's not familiar with Video Ask, I wonder if I can actually bring it up real quick. It's free. There's obviously paid elements.
It looks so cool. So just like being open to discovering things is important.
I still have it on here. Yeah, I do. Okay. So my mastermind is no longer available for joining, but share screen. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So if you were to go on to my mastermind website, down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it says, let's chat. And you can actually click on it. And it's me.
Hey there, my name is Dana.
And I don't want to play it because we'll be in double, but it's telling you what is a mastermind because I got so many questions about it. And then I wonder if I can go through this very quickly.
Hey
and then it
there,
says, send me the application.
And I am the CEO and founder.
And there's an actual call to action through it. So I can get your name and I can get your email and we can have a conversation. This you could put on for people to learn about your nonprofit or to donate or a volunteer opportunity. Literally, whatever. That one's called Video Ask.
Like, how do you fundraise, right?
Yeah.
So many things. I thought that was super cool.
Yes, I love that one. So funny. I just need to make a whole blog post about all these tools. We'll have to put it out together. I'll just list it on ours. So that's Video Ask. McKaylin thinks we're so smart. You know what? Thank you, McKaylin.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. We geek out and
We geek out. I mean, some people read books. I look at the MailChimp integration page, you know?
That's right. That's right.
We all have our things.
I want to ask, okay, so Cindy had a quick question.
Yeah.
What is your advice for content to post on LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram and Facebook?
Ooh, I'm so glad you asked, Cindy. I think LinkedIn is a very underutilized social media channel by nonprofits. And
100%.
I think more nonprofits should be posting more stuff on LinkedIn. There is no reason you cannot ask your board members to share stories for you and be brand ambassadors on LinkedIn. I think that's a fantastic thing to do. When you think about your target audience for mid-level donors, major donors, all of that, like go into that professional network, tailor the message to fit with that professional network. Because again, you don't want to say everything in the exact same way on each of these channels because they are a little different. I liked your example, Dana, of the Instagram stories, a little different than LinkedIn, but share meaningful content on LinkedIn and ask your board and your people within your staff to share stories there, because I think it's a great place to grow an audience. For me, it's been my most successful channel, and it's been the one that I focus on the most because
I would say that the big difference content wise too that I've seen anyways is LinkedIn is great for a lot of text heavy posts.
Yes.
Versus Instagram obviously is very photo carousel. Actually, there was a study I read recently that carousels are the highest engaged with content on Instagram, which makes sense because you're spending time to scroll through something on the platform. And Facebook is really great for driving traffic somewhere else or Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
Because it's a push notification to your followers. So your content is going to differ based upon each channel. But that was a great question.
That was good. And LinkedIn, definitely long form. People also like polls on LinkedIn.
Yes, they do.
It's a great place to survey on LinkedIn. Polls get a lot of activity on LinkedIn.
I love that. One last question for you. Okay. Budget. We love budget conversations. How should I develop a budget around content strategy? Dear Taylor, please tell us.
Have one.
Yes.
Have one. Content strategy is marketing strategy. Like it's a huge part of your marketing strategy. It's a huge part of your marketing budget. So you need a line item in your marketing budget for content tools, like some of the ones we mentioned, like Canva, which by the way, you can get for free. Like outsourcing things, if you need to outsource content, to other people, to freelancers, to agencies on Upwork. You need budget for content if you want to do paid media, like Facebook ads, Google grant, stuff like that. So definitely budget for the tools that you're going to need. If you need to purchase a subscription to these marketing tools that we talked about, to social media schedulers, you can do a lot for a little bit, to be honest. Like you said, that video ask thing, you can get it for free. Canva, if you're a nonprofit, you can get it for free. There are so many tools that don't have to cost an arm and a leg. But the biggest thing is to set aside a budget within your marketing budget just for content. And there's going to be a few different pieces of that. There's going to be the technology that you need. And then there's going to be the actual production work of making graphics, making the content, right? And that might be internally with a staff person. It might be outsourcing to freelancers and people like us and all of that thing. But definitely have one. Start by knowing that you need a budget for content.
Yes. If you're coming into your new fiscal year, as a lot of sponsors or as a lot of nonprofits are, be thinking about this. I put in the comments a link to a blog post where I outline how to think about a budget template. But Taylor's spot on. You need to think about both angles. If you don't know how to do Facebook ads and it's going to take you a long time and you think you're going to misspend money, it's probably better to hire someone to do it the right way to see quicker results on that funding. Same thing with design. I am of the mindset this year, and I've been doing this in my own business, is outsource other things to people that I might like to do them, but is that really where my time is best spent?
Yeah.
And if it's not, give it to someone else.
That gets an amen. That gets an amen.
It's the hardest thing to do because it's super hard. We all come from this like scarcity of, oh gosh, like, is that a good idea? Is that really where I should be spending the funding? But how much time are you spending on a specific task where maybe you could be out getting new donors, new sponsors, networking, building partnerships, doing thought leadership, being in front of more people instead of sitting there in Canva? Is that really where your time should be spent? So
exactly.
Taylor, you are full of so much wisdom, and thank you so much for coming on here. How can people reach out to work with you?
Awesome. You know, find me on my website, barlele.com. It's BARLELE.com. You can shoot me an email, hello@barlele.com. You can call me, text me. I'll give you my number. It's on my website. It's 828-457-9157.
Wow. Get it, girl.
Or find me on LinkedIn. There's so many ways.
I love it. I just put a link to your website in there. Thank you everyone so much for your engagement and your response today. So much good stuff that came out of this session. Again, this will be live on my website. This will stay up. You can rewind, you can rinse, and you can reuse it, and you can share it with your organization. So Taylor, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you. It was a joy. Thank you.
She's awesome. So that was amazing. Thank you all so much for joining today. If any other questions come up around content strategy, just drop them in the comments below, and Taylor or I will jump into the comments to continue the conversation. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and we'll see you soon.